All right guys, Coach Kyle back. So we finished out that first core challenge, the first one that we've ever done with Max Out. And we've got nothing but rave reviews and a lot of messages back to do another one. So we had a week off, now we're gonna kick it back into high gear. I first wanna say thank you for everybody that joined us for that first challenge. If you did, after those 4 weeks, you should noticeably feel, but also see a difference in all that work that you just did for that core. Again, doing all those extended exercises over a period of time is just gonna really resonate in that central area. We always talk about it's almost impossible to spot train, but when we do it over a 4 week, every single day, and then we still incorporate in conjunction with our regular exercise, you can spot train, because you're still filling in all those gaps. But again, thank you guys. It was awesome, it was fun. It was nice to have a little bit of a social involvement back and forth. And because of that, we're gonna do it all again. Now with this, we had questions. What are we gonna do next? I wanna do this, I wanna do that. Overall, number one thing that we heard was legs. So we are going to give it to you. With the leg component, it will be a little bit differently this time compared to last. We're gonna hone in and focus on certain parts of those legs and muscles at a time. We will work on those quads, we will work on those hips, those glute, that activation for that rear posterior chain. And then we're gonna just kind of put it all together on that last final, maybe day or two of the week. This can be done in conjunction with all of your regular additional exercises. We're not gonna do too much super heavy stuff, so it's gonna be that elongated final process to get to that heavy load. As this goes on, start light. If you haven't been training with us, there's no reason to jump right into this and go super heavy. But all of these exercises, for those who have been with us, have components of options of weights or bands to increase that load or make it a little bit harder when it might be a little easy for you. With that, let's talk about what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start off up here Monday on our Legs Go, Legs Go challenge. And we're gonna go straight into an iso lunge. Iso just means that you are going to stimulate that muscle and not go up and down and constrict it or open it. So you're gonna just sit in a nice iso lunge, 2 minutes on each side. Again, variance of levels. You can use a weighted subject for this. If you don't have weights at home, well, you do, you're lying to yourself. We'll show you also ways to add weights, such as grabbing a book bag, putting some tools, a bag of rice, some sand from the winter of all that snow oh, that's right, we didn't get. But again, iso, lunge, 2 minutes, exercise 1. Number 2, dumbbell leg extension. Throughout this entire leg go challenge, we will be incorporating a little bit of that core. Again, stability-wise, if we're doing anything has a hinging motion or putting a little bit of weight out in front of us or behind us or to the left or right, it makes our frame have to keep nice and tight. So we will be working core a little bit as we go through this, so you'll get to utilize a little bit what you've done before in that last challenge. But if your core is not ready and you haven't done these with us, take it nice and slow, keep that weights low until you are ready. So second will be that dumbbell leg extension. And then third, we're gonna get those legs nice and tight together and we're gonna do biker squats. When we do biker squats, you're gonna do what we've always kind of traditionally said to not do, and I want our knees as close together as possible. And we're gonna go down and they're gonna feel like they're gonna push apart, squeeze them tight in. We're gonna work a little bit of that groin area, that interior thigh as well on that biker squat. With that, day 2, Tuesday. We're gonna go straight into that same isometric motion as a sumo lunge. Again, a sumo lunge is gonna be a good wide open base squat. Our toes are gonna be pigeoned out and we're gonna do it for 4 minutes. Hip ups, number 2. We're going to lay down on our back. We're gonna draw our heels in nice and tight and we're gonna smash our hips to the ceiling and try to flatten out that front. What I mean is when we come up into that nice, probably 45 to 55 degree angle, you want to have your quads making a nice flat platform down into that core belly. So it looks like this, nice and straight. If those double leg hip ups are a little bit easy for you, you can always elevate the heels, or you can go into that single-sided hip up and knock out 50 or so on each to get to that 100 to put a little bit more stressor on that. But be careful, lower back problems on this area, you need to be safe, so start slow. Number 3, we're gonna do donkey kickbacks. This one, We're gonna do 50 on each side, but the most important part about it is when you kick back is you kick that heel up. You wanna squeeze that glute, that lower back chain, and hold it for a good second or two. Don't just kick like a donkey and somebody's behind you that you don't like. Control that movement and squeeze. Hump day, Wednesday, day 3. We're gonna start out and go into a little bit of that left and right motion, a little bit laterally. A lot of people too much just do that linear or straightforward. Case in point, spinning, cycling, Orange Theory, not pointing at fingers, great exercise, but there's a lot of negated left and right lateral movement, which is really good supportive nature for your hips, your ankles, and all types of your body. So we're gonna hit it. First off, lateral lunges, nice and smooth and controlled. Watch our exercise video here, because when we do a lateral lunges, we want to hinge out and try to bring that thoracic or belly down on top of that thigh, keeping that head drawn up. This is a great mobility exercise too, so take it slow and do it right. Don't just push through those outside lateral lunges fast. They do more than just go a little left and right. All right, next, we're gonna do a lateral leg raise, a simplistic exercise, going back to an aerobic class. You're gonna lay on your side, and you're gonna bring that leg all the way up and all the way down. Again, we're working on some mobility here. If it seems a little bit light, a little bit easy, you can always grab a band. This is an exercise that I would always expect and hope that all the people that I train do instead of using that hip abductor machine that you would see at a YMCA or a traditional gym. Sitting in there, it's not the most functional for those hips expanding out and putting all that glute activation without having a good shifting of those knees and creating that mobility throughout that movement going down. So if you're on that hip abductor machine that's in the YMCA or wherever, get off of it, stand up, grab a band, put it around those knees, or lay on your side and do lateral leg raises, and you're gonna get the exact same component, but a little bit more mobility. Number 3, taking it back traditional style, wall sits. Wall sits, everything goes against the wall. Back, head, shoulder. We wanna try to keep as flat as possible, and your legs are gonna come out to that 90-degree fashion. It's like a tray. If it's a little easy, feel free to pick up a foot or two. If you wanna work a little bit on core, grab a weight and slowly transition it like a left to right motion. But again, control, slow. 4 minutes. Coming down to the last 2 days of the week, we're gonna go into a little bit more of a power or explosive movement exercise for Thursday. We're gonna incorporate some of the stuff we had for the rest of the week, but we're gonna go into a movement fashion and controlling some momentum. One thing, if you've trained with me, you've heard momentum means no muscle. Now, in this case, if it's a controlled momentum swing or movement, such as a pendulum with a kettlebell or a dumbbell, then slowly recovering that momentum and transitioning back the opposite way creates that strength and gain, so you're controlling the momentum. Very important. Don't use momentum to push the weight around with not using the muscle that it's isolated for. Case in point, real great emphasis on this is you'll see some guys at the gym with huge dumbbells going, good for them. They're swinging a lot of weight, but they're not really opening up and constricting that muscle. So I would degress on the weight and no momentum, nice and controlled. With that, Thursday, dumbbell swings or kettlebell swings. If you have a kettlebell, use it. If not, you're gonna grab that dumbbell like a goblet or the top end of it, and you're gonna make sure that we keep within that triangle frame. That's our crotch between those knees. So nice and high and tight, we're shifting and hinging at the hips and using that force from popping our legs together to have that weight and pendulum swing up. Do not use those shoulders. We will be doing that full 35 to 45 degree upward swing where that weight doesn't ever stop. It keeps that travel and motion going down and connected to that core and quad leg activation. Number 2, squat jumps. Squat jumps, great way to, for us trainers, teach people how to get out of the hole. If you're squatting and going into that 90-degree good depth squat, that last transition from an eccentric to a concentric movement from that downward fashion to up is called the hole. It's very hard to get out of because you're changing the way that muscle reacts instinctively. So this, with that fast flexion of that muscle going down and explosion of it going up, if you're deep enough in that squat, and if you can touch the ground, you're gonna get great mobility, but you're also gonna work on that power and drive coming up out of that over 90-degree squat coming down, aka that hole. All right, so squat jumps, 50, slow, controlled, down as low as you can, high as you can. Next, we will be doing Russian deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, or RDLs, whatever you would like to call it. This is again a hinging fashion between our hips and going straight down like we're going to be tying our shoes. Make sure we have a slight bend in our knees. Very, very important that I think you all watch the exercise video for this one. A lot of people do their RDLs a little bit wrong. They keep it a little too close to the legs. If you have a foam roller, which I will show, it's a great way to show the distance and also control that weight as it hangs down. But 50 RDLs with some weights. Coming down to the last day of the week, El Friday. Thank goodness for Friday, right? We're going to incorporate a couple of the components together and start working on that compound or that double muscle exercise so that when we transition into week 2 and 3, we're ready for going a little bit more stability and balance techniques as we also use those legs, quads, and glutes. First exercise, we're gonna take this hip up that we took on that Tuesday and we're gonna switch it over to that single leg. Now, if you did single legs on Tuesday, feel free to elevate that single leg to put a little bit more stressor into that high hamstring. It's most important that we don't keep our feet flat on this one. And again, watch the exercise video, but drive those heels in and the toe up. That front of that shin, that muscle that draws up that toe is very supportive of nature, especially for runners and people who are doing a lot of activity of movement with some speed and transitioning those legs forward and back. It keeps those toes high. It helps keep you away from injury on those ankles, hips, knees, all the above. But single leg hip ups on each side, 50. Next, we're going to incorporate El Sumo and biker squat in one. So you're going to transition to a nice wide base open sumo and to a nice tight closed biker squat. Again, not doing sumo 50 times and then biker 50 times, one, then the other. You will be doing 50 each, total of 100 squats. Weight if wanted, band if wanted, but first week, not necessary. You will see when I tell you you have to use weights, it will say it on here. But if it doesn't have it and you want it, do it. Last, RFE split squats. That is rear foot elevated. You're gonna slightly transition one of your toes up onto a bench or step or anything to create a little bit of imbalance, stepping your front leg out into that lunge or split squat fashion. That back leg will stay straight, hips positioned straight up. Weight if wanted for this, but again, this is a balance and control exercise. And we're gonna do 25 on each side. It's only 25. So as you've done our core challenge with us before, that doesn't mean it's easier. That means you wanna slow it down and control it. Own this exercise. Do not let it own you and fall over the place, all right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, first week has been presented for you. Oh yeah, that's right, forgot. Extra credit. Just because I know some of y'all want it out there. The weekend, I would say rest, get ready, prepare for the next week, or find us on Zoom and transition yourself into just a regular base exercise, filling in these gaps throughout. But if you want a little bit more on those legs, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go back and you're gonna pick 4 exercises, not 4 days. You're gonna pick 4 of your favorite exercises, and you're just gonna repeat that uno más, one more time. So again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, transition between quads, glutes, power, explosiveness, and then the old extra credit for the weekend. All right, guys, you have seen it. It has been put out for you. Legs Go Challenge has begun. Take a look at it, follow the instructional video with us, and also make sure that you stay with us on Zoom. We will be doing classes on the morning times and evening. You can register for all these and you can see all these classes on MindBody as well for that app and unlimited training process and programs. But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Legs are traditionally kind of used all the time, but not like this. If you've always wanted to get those nice strong legs but don't have a lot of that weight and stuff at home, no matter. We're gonna show you how, just like we did for that core, all right? So let's get some water, let's give each other a high five, get a big old smile on that face, and let's get it. Legs go.